Well, thank you, Maureen, very much for being here on A House for Arts, and welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
So tell me a little bit about the Alliance for Creative Economy. What's its main mission? What does it do?
Sure. Well, it's about 5 years old now, which is funny to say it because we're still trying to keep that feeling of a new conversation around what the creative industries are in this region.
Right.
There's no hard-cut distinction about it. We really had to fit the creative economy to what's present here in our region, in these 8 counties, and that's how we define how we are measured and the area that we cover.
Right.
So it goes from Washington and Warren counties all the way down to Columbia and Greene in the south. But it's about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours from top to bottom. It's almost the size of Connecticut. It's a big territory.
Yeah, that kind of gives a sense of what we're talking about here. And a lot has changed since you were last on the program too, right? So not only are you thinking regionally, you're also thinking about the moment we're in now.
Yeah, for sure. Almost nothing about this year has anything to do with any prior year before this, right?
Yeah.
So our data and all of the ways that we usually try to carry our story, which is that we are the 4th largest employment sector in the capital region, that we drive $5 billion in earnings, and that we have earnings and wages and sales. So those numbers have to do with last year. You know, right now in the middle of COVID, it's really hard to measure any of that. What we know is that we've been impacted terribly hard. The performing arts still aren't able to convene, lots of them. Theaters aren't open, movie theaters, performing arts venues, they're not open yet. So it's very hard to measure this, but we do know that the pain is very real right now.
Right. Well, you mentioned performing arts, theaters, but can you kind of give us a sense too of what exactly the creative economy or the creative industry is?
Sure.
Could we understand it more widely?
Sure. The way we define it is that any product that has creativity and differentiation from other products is part of the creative economy, if that's part of the intention of the maker. So it might be best to look at it in terms, or easiest to look at it in terms of cheese. American cheese is made by Kraft, and it's a commodity product. Mm-hmm. Every slice should look the same, and they want that to look the same all across America. If the intention of a small farmer is to make a cheese that has their handprint on it, their cows or sheep, or they raise that sheep, they have their own formulation, they've worked on that product, and they've made it different because of their input, right, and their intention. That's a creative product. So you can see that the creative economy has a difference between Budweiser beer and a craft brew, and that goes for all of those kind of products. But then we also have the performing arts and the visual arts and museums and all those things that you would think are part of the creative economy are of course counted in that. But there's other parts like WMHT, where we're sitting right now, that's part of the creative economy too. Right. So all of filmmaking, broadcast, radio, new media, digital gaming, all of those things that are creative products are counted in the creative economy.
Right. That seems like it covers almost the majority of the American population at this point, right?
At this point, right? But that's new because that wasn't true 20 years ago in the economy. It's changed across the nation, but it's also changed here. How many creative people are employed here and have come from other places to set up their companies here? That sort of thing is new, and that's why we started counting that and tried to see how much the creative economy is present here. And we were shocked when we did that first study about 7 years ago to show how much of the economy is driven by creative product.
You know, when I'm thinking about all the people that you help, you talked about who makes the creative economy. And I'm kind of wondering, what does the economic landscape look like for a lot of these freelancers, from freelancing musicians and artists to freelancing dancers and farmers?
Yes, there are a lot of freelancers here, and some of that is because of our affordability, right? I'm a freelancer, I'm a consultant, and I never would have done that in Brooklyn. The overhead's too high, I just wouldn't have been able to do that. So a lot of our affordability has driven this ability to start your own business or a side hustle. And so over half the people in the creative economy are freelance, 16,000 people. It's a lot of people. And that's more than are employed in the entire banking industry. Let's put it that way.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's a huge amount of creative freelancers. And many of us have our own businesses, but you can also be employed by other companies and help them with their creative endeavors. Like a designer can work out of their home, but they're driving the creative activities inside of a bank, or they're hired out for that sort of thing.
Right.
So has an impact not just on creatives, but also on the traditional industries too.
Right. And what kinds of resources does ACE provide individuals such as these?
I'll tell you what, one of the things that we did most of all was convene. And this is what's so hard for creative people, right? So much of our business is based on bringing people together and providing an experience. So ACE had big events every month. The last one we had was 350 people in March, and then the next one was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it was February, and then the March one was gone. But that convening has been really hard to lose that. So we're trying to find, as everyone is trying to do, trying to find other ways to provide that. So we have a newsletter. We have conversations and outreach around the creative economy for anybody who needs it, because we have a pretty big network now. But it's been really hard for us to pivot, as it has for so many of our organizations, because the creative economy is built on interaction. We love to convene. We love to bring people together.
I'm wondering, Maureen, when you think about the people that you help and that the staff at ACE help, are there any stories of resilience or success that first come to mind for you?
Sure, there are lots of them. A lot of freelancers, when we started interviewing them in March going forward, they said, this is the time that I've always wanted to build my website. All of the things that we sort of all let go, we know we should, but we don't get there because we're busy.
Right.
So to be able to educate yourself, take classes, go back and sort through your photos and bring your best face forward. We found amazing stories. We tried to do is cover someone every week to tell their story of what they were doing. And people were super inventive of trying to bring their business skills back together. You can be a great photographer, but if you can't show the world about that, a lot of people were saying, I always wanted a pause. I didn't want it for this long, but this is the pause I got to have to bring my business back together. Right. So I thought those were amazing stories. And I tried to take it to heart too, to bring that back to ACE as well. What could we do a little better? Our written communications have gotten better over time because we have a little more emphasis on, we can maximize that thought.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you've hinted at some of the challenges that people are facing, especially right now in the creative economy. But could you tell me a little on a bigger picture? Why is the creative economy so important to people right now at this particular moment, especially during the pandemic?
Sure. I think you guys can feel this here at WMHT, right? There's a way that people connect, and it is by telling each other stories, of sharing our feelings, of being able to express ourselves. And this is an unprecedented time. We have to communicate how we're feeling, or it'd be just too overwhelming. We have to share this and find ways to tell people how we're particularly feeling and how we can bring that, and share that together. So I think that the creative economy, while it has a direct economic impact, it has a community impact too, and it has an emotional impact on the people that are around us. So being able to share our stories and tell them well, or picture them well, or capture what we're experiencing, will help others get through this too. Yeah. So I think the creative economy is always important, not just the economic part of it, but the other part, the interpersonal part it provides is extremely important to everyone.
Yeah, the human side of the economy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe you could sort of also pull from a little bit of data from today in answering this next question, which is, where do you see the creative economy or creative industry moving within the next several years? And perhaps that's a bit of a hard question to answer because we're in such a strange time, as you've mentioned. But maybe you could kind of give us a sense of where we might be going for the next several years.
Sure. I think that Elizabeth Sobel from SPAC, which is a giant theater up in outdoor theater and and provides year-round programming now up in Saratoga, said, we performing arts venues always knew we had to turn to digital media. We knew we had to concentrate on it, but we never did it. You know, we didn't really spend our time on it. They're taking that pause and saying that, you know, that's where we have to move to. We don't know how long, there's been no timetable provided as to when performing arts venues can start to convene again. And so how are we going to do that? You know, what alternate platforms can we provide? So I think we're going to see a lot more movement into digital, and we're seeing that. You'll hear stories about film productions that are now done completely virtually. You know, no two actors are in the same space.
Right. I mean, you watch SNL episodes recently, and it's
exactly,
they're getting creative.
They are, and everybody's going to have to do that experiment and figure out where that goes. So it's transforming film production. Absolutely will not be the same. For better and worse, we're going to figure this out as we go along. But how we sell our goods, how we tell our stories, all of those things are going to have to change. But that movement to digital is inevitable for every industry of how we can provide much of this. So I think that we're going to get inventive about that and then find best practices from all of those around us. I think we share very well in the creative economy. We beg, borrow, and steal. It's not really stealing. It's just being inspired by someone and saying, that might be a direction for me of how I can do it.
Well, that sounds like an awesome opportunity. Thank you so much, Maureen, for being on here. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me.